song, I think it's the United States. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And Shabbat Shalom to those of you who are with us at home. If you'll all here turn around when you're on the courtyard and there are two white cameras, and just look up and wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. Sometimes it feels a little lonely to be at home, so we know that they are with us in spirit and in song. So please, at home too, you're joining in with us today. Rabbi Gimbel is on a well-deserved vacation, as are Heidi and Andy, and we're welcoming Noah Hampshire here, who's returning to play with us this evening. It's wonderful when our young people come and lift our souls in prayer. We begin tonight very special candle lighting. I would like to invite Rachel Hansen and Lynn Sampson to light our candles. We just dedicated a bench in honor of Jerry Sampson this evening. In his memory, he greeted every single person who came into the congregation, and the bench, when you are welcome to sit on it, is right in front of the sanctuary as you come in. He loved life, and he loved the people here, and he wanted everyone to feel welcome and at home. So in his honor and memory, we're bringing his light into Shabbat this evening. And Jacob Sampson. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Kabbalat Shabbat is the beginning of welcoming. We welcome one another. We receive the faces of one another of Shabbat. We receive the Shekhinah, God's divine dwelling and presence. I invite you to turn to someone around you, behind you, in front of you. Say Shabbat Shalom. Welcome them. Welcome one another. Those of us in our online community, write a message in the chat welcoming one another, as I know you do each and every week. As we turn and begin our service, page 344, we welcome Shabbat Shir Chadash, sing unto God a new song. We join together. Come, my beloved, as we greet the Sabbath bride. השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ונטילה. As we remain standing, we turn in our prayer books to page 146. We face our ark. We join together for those sacred words of the Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai,
we remain standing, we join together in the English, our prayer for Yotze responsively. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah
Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravi.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim. Responsively, we join together. In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we're addressed by the world.
In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth.
In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema
Will you please be seated? And we join together on page 150 with the chanting of Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher nochi mitzavecha ayom alevavecha Vishinantam lebanecha vidibarta bam b'shivtecha vetecha uleftecha vaderech ushokpecha uvkumecha ushartam leot ayadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uktavtam amezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkeru rasitem et kol metotai v'item gedoshim leloechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher tzeiti echem meretz Mitzrayim le'olachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai
Mi chamocha bailim, Adonai. Who is like you, O God, among all of the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, and working wonders? Please join us, page 152. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'amidenu Shomereinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'amidenu Shomereinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'amidenu Shomereinu L'Chaim. Ushmor tzedkenu, Ovoenu, L'chaim Shalom, Ve'ata Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'amidenu Shomereinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'amidenu Shomereinu L'Chaim. Shamru v'nei Yisrael, the people of Israel, will always keep the Sabbath. Page 154. And as you hear, you need to join us, so sing loud. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'rit Torah. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'rit Torah. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'rit Torah. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'rit Torah.
Shel shel yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai. Et hashamayim ve'eta
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'rit Torah. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam b'rit Torah. In a moment, we will rise for our tefillah prayer. In the evenings, it's a silent prayer. We can use the words in the Siddur or the words of our hearts. And we invite you to rise as we face the ark And we begin on page 155. With that beautiful piece, we try to build a world of peace. And in that world, we try to build one of healing as well. For all of those who are in need of it in war, who are in need of it because of a plague. In our community tonight, we are thinking about Ari Zalman Leib ben Shoshana Umoshe, Dina Leah Bat Zohara, Lauren Berman, Jessica Lynn Friedman, Denise Garrick, Elliot Goldstein, Nancy Gordon, Alan Haubenstock, Ellen Hutt, Ruthie Jordan, Richard Kitson, Rebecca Lahana, Roberto Lahana, Marshall J. Lewis, Nechama Bat Rafael, Claudia Liebenson, Maria Luro, Michal Iran Bat Yael, Jim McIndoe, Yoram Minis, Jonathan Newlander, Stanley Rabin, Lynn Richard, Sharon Ritter, Galina Rubalchenko, Jeannie Schnitzer, Rhonda Schwartz, Ilana Schaefer, Bernard Stein, Seth Streichler, Lynn Slotkin, Cindy Spector, Eileen Tatro, Gerald Trimble, David Tossman, Kathy Weil, John Weil, Eric Winston, George Wise, and Todd Villa. Perhaps you have a name that you'd like to share with us. At home, please drop those names in the chat. We can see them and everyone can comfort you from home.
Janet Cook, Robbie Burke.
Terry Miller, Ian Brisky.
And I want to invite Michael Breslauer up to lead us in prayer, page 253.
And I'd like to add the name of Ellen Edwards, who I know is watching us in this moment before Shlema.
Bless the Spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. It's no secret that our global news has been filled with stories related to leadership as of late, and specifically to leaders that are in transition of power. In this past month, the Israeli coalition government, we know, has dissolved. The prime ministers of both the United Kingdom and Italy have resigned, and the president of Sri Lanka fled his country. And this week's Torah portion that we're reading, Pinchas, also includes a transition of leadership of sorts, from Moses to Joshua in preparation for Moses not being able to lead the Israelites into the Promised Land. Yet it's 5 other powerful leaders that I want to focus and talk to you about this evening. 5 incredibly impressive women: Malach, Noah, Hogla, Milcha, and Tirza, known as the daughters of Zelophehad. In reading this narrative closely, one might mistake it perhaps for a Jane Austen novel. The disenfranchisement and injustices borne by women surrounding the question of inheritance rights, the formal but respectful articulation of the grievances of those women, and the dramatic and triumphant vindication of their plight and their plea. This week's Torah portion encapsulates the challenges that women faced and what they had to do in order to affirm their rights with dignity. So what's happening in this week's Torah portion? This week, we learn about a census that's being taken of all the males over the age of 20. As part of the list of the various clans, we read that Zelophehad had no sons, only daughters. As the census was concluded, God instructs Moses, among these shall the land be apportioned as shares. But among these refers to the males listed in the census. Hence, we can conclude that Zelophehad's daughters were not counted in that particular census, and also were not to receive any land as an inheritance. So I can only imagine, if I'm visioning what was going on around that time, and if I was a fly somewhere moving around that space, women that were heirs to Egyptian slavery and under laws that frequently favor men might respond by keeping silent, by naturally accepting the rule decreed for them to follow. We might expect the women in those generations to remain out of sight and not go far from their families. So how and why did Zelophehad's daughters write a new chapter in our history and give us 5 incredibly impressive women to hold up in our tradition? First, they dared to go out from their living space and from the destiny imposed on them. As the text tells us, the daughters of Zelophehad came forward. The names of the daughters: Malach, Noah, Hogla, Milcha, and Tirza. They stood before Moses, Eleazar the priest, the chieftains, and the whole assembly at the entrance of the tent of meeting. So here's the scene I'm imagining right now. The Israelite camp is formed of tribes, each of whom has a determined place, with the tabernacle front and center. And in the center stand the main authority figures, all of them. What would they be? Men, the chieftains, Eleazar the priest, and Moses. How imposing, yet they persist. The 5 sisters decide to claim their rights. They leave their tents. They set out to the place where only the high-ranking men congregate, to the place of holiness and authority, and where women certainly did not have that authority. But this is not all that the 5 sisters do. They come forth and speak with determination, as we learn in the text, which says, "Our father died in the wilderness. He was not one of the faction, Korach's faction. which banded together against God, but died for his own sin, and he has left no sons. Let not our father's name be lost to his clan just because he had no son. Give us a holding among our father's kinsmen. Each year I read Pinchas. Each and every year. I delight in celebrating what I call these Nashot Chayil, these women of valor. They pave the way for future generations, not only in gaining access to their inheritance, but also in bringing about amendments to the current legislation, amendments that provided greater access to relatives sharing in their clan's inheritance. In our modern language, we might refer to them as leaders who are change agents. In her book, Midrashic Women, Judith Baskin describes the daughters of Zelophehad well. According to Baskin, they are canny and competent women who trusted that divine mercy would transcend the mutable forms of a human society in which women were subordinate human beings, allowing them to shape their own destinies. In addition to achieving a tremendous feat impacting land inheritance for women, today they push us to rethink our faith. They ask us to consider what is right, what is just, and relevant when faced with traditional approaches that may no longer serve the greater good. Malach, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah inspire us to do the footwork and to push the boundaries, even if it brings us into uncomfortable places. They model the potential for us to enter into the holy centers where we fight for what we believe is just. From these heroic biblical change agents, we learn some important lessons. Number one, bringing about change takes a shared vision, even though there may be periods of time when one has to stand alone. Number two, resolving conflict includes a demonstration of evidence and facts, coupled with a sensible attitude and approach to advance a positive and worthy outcome. Number three, emotion has tremendous and great impact. The five daughters place their facts into meaningful context and deliver them with both conviction and with passion. So in this Shabbat, I invite you to ask yourself, how have or do I lead in my own life, in my own communities, in my own household? What cause or causes have I stood up for lately? What leadership have I taken on? We know that change can be challenging to enact, even when the need for such is increasingly urgent. But our tradition challenges us each and every day to not wait upon others for the change that we hope to see. As we change our ways, I hope so too, the ways of our world change for positive, for goodness, and knowing that our inherent power is within us. Our capacity to make change is ever strong. Can you hear Ratzon? May this be God's will, God's blessing, as we say together, Amen.
Amen.
This time I'd like to call upon one of our board members, Marcia Lubick, to share some words and announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My name is Marcia Lubick, and I'm a member of your board of directors. And I want to welcome you here for services this evening, here in this beautiful courtyard, and we have fabulous weather tonight, and of course, all of you at home. I also want to thank our men's club for ushering, as they do every single week, and I want to also thank our musicians, because without them, we would not have the services we have. Thank you for sharing your beautiful music with us. I always have to say that anything you want to find out about Beth Israel, you can find on our website. There's a myriad of programs going on, all different types of programs. And it's worth it to take a look at the website and see what appeals to you and that you want to participate in. And the website is cbisd.org. Before I conclude, I decided to read something from Rabbi Kushner. He's one of my favorite authors, Jewish authors, and I always find his words very inspirational. So this is a prayer for the world. Let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nurtured over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt and the neglect. Then let the sun come out and fill the sky with rainbows. Let the warmth of the sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly, so that we can see beyond labels, beyond accents, gender, or skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness, so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. And let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all people as our neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains reach our hearts to reach upward to heaven. Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Page 261. We are reaching upwards to the heavens to bless the new month of Av, which will arrive next Thursday night and Friday. Yhi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, שתחדש עלינו את החודש הבא לטובה ולברכה, ותיתן לנו חיים ארוכים, חיים של שלום, חיים של פרנסה, חיים שתהא בנו אהבת תורה ויראת שמיים, חיים שימלאו משאלות ליבנו לטובה. Please join me in English. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Av Yiyeh B'Yom Shishi. The new month of Av begins Thursday night.
As we begin to conclude our service this evening, I invite you to turn to page 282 as we rise together facing the ark. We join together for the words of the Lamb.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atid gilal yotzei b'reshit, shelo asanu ki goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu ki mishpachot ha'adama, shelo samchatenu gadol.
Take a moment of pause to think about those that we've loved and lost, those who continue to live on in our hearts and in our memories, As I share the name of loved ones that you may be here to honor this evening, I invite you to rise in your place so that we may honor you in your presence as well. And those in our online community, of which I know there are many tonight, that share, I invite you to do so as well. This week, we mourn the passing of our beloved congregant, Frank Goldberg, husband of Lee, father of Susie and Bernie, Eddie, and Annie, and Joel, Zichrono Livracha. In this period of Shloshim, in these 30 days post-burial, we think of Jackie, Lovi Sunheim, Edward Serper, Sidel Weinstein, Tamara Strauss, Dorota Landveer, Harriet Bulletin, Arceli Morales Cornelio, Janet Henry, and Laura Hiowa. And in this yard site, in this season of memory, we recall Harry Adelson, James B. Allen II, Richard Barrett, Jeffrey Bergman, Rabbi Moshe Bergman, Alexander Burkow, Joseph Berman, Deborah Halpern Burns, Betty Blake, Gladys Block, Benjamin Brown, Kate Buckner, Bill Berger, Richard Chayton, Ruth Cohen, Audrey Coleman, Herbert Eber, Mark Lewis Ehrman, Ihel Fertel, Solomon Feynman, Manny Fisher, Eleanor Forster, Pearl Friedman, Annette Friedman, Samuel H. Führer, Grace Gilbert, Gertrude Goldsmith, Isidore Goldstein, Estelle Goodman, Walter Greenberg, Eve Ray Grossman, Timothy Grutman, Adrian Gus, Claire Handler, Ida Harnish, Charles Held, Gilbert Herskovitz, Joan Eisman, Emma Rose Jacobson, Jack Kaplan, Clara Kamlos, Ruth Krause, Harry Kroll, Sidney Lawrence, Bertie Leeds, John Leifer, Marvin Levin, Pepe Levy, Lillian Lubick, Marcy Merrill, Annie Murfield, Sonia Merkowitz, Lorraine Milstein, Marilyn Billy Minsky, Albert W. Mintz, Janice Mintz, Bunny Luftig Nassoff, Cheryl Paul, Ruben Perlman, Annie Pinkiel, Justine Shana Rappaport, Herman Ray, Samuel Recht, Alexander Remish, Helene Rosenberg, Gustav Rosenberg, Hans Wolanski, Dawn Rubin, Marvin Schiffman, Joseph Slate, James Small, Benjamin Spiro, Minna Stanford, Gene Stern, Louis B. Tischler, Miriam Vigo, Stephen Wax, Ida Wax, Armand Winheld, Marshall Wolf, Irving Leonard Wool. And I invite, if there's anyone that is joining us here this evening, if you'd like to share a name aloud so we may hold them in our hearts as well. As we rise as a sacred community, as we join together in those hallowed words of Kadisha Tom, the Mourner's Kaddish, together we join and say, Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash merabah, be'alma divrach hirutei, ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, u'v'chayeh v'chol Beit Israel, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv, v'imru amen, Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitruman v'yitnaseh v'yitatar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei l'Kudisha B'richu, Le'elam Mikol Berchata V'Shirata, Tush B'chata V'Nechamata, Damiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlam Araba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mamav, Uyaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories ever continue to inspire and be for blessing, as together we say, Amen. I invite you to put your prayer books down, place your arms around someone next to you that you're comfortable, placing your arm around in words of hope, words of prayer, Oseh Shalom B'mamav, the words that ask God to bring peace to ourselves, our communities, our greater world. We join together.
Oseh Shalom B'mamav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshnei Tevel, V'yivru.
Turn to someone next to you around you, say Shabbat Shalom. And once again, thank you to our amazing musicians who keep us going, inspired, beautiful, soulful sounds and melodies that you bring to our hearts. To our techs also, who go tirelessly working behind the scenes to bring our online community together. We thank you so much for giving us all that we need to get through this moment together as one community. We join together and we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, v'te'avot. Shabbat Shalom.
Mama. Yeah. How are you? Do you like all this music?
Michael.